And good morning. Welcome to the Out and About Show on 1590 KVGB. Focus on Stafford County. Steve Webster with you today as we get a chance to talk about what's going on to the south of us in Stafford County. Helping us do that is the Director of the Stafford County Economic Development, Carolyn Dunn, also Program Director Ashley Bevan, in with us on the program today. Great to see you guys. You look nice. Everything you doing looks like you're doing some other presentations in town, getting a lot of things done while you're up here, right?
We try to keep active.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. We got a lot of things to talk about.
We do. It's an exciting month this month.
And I will tell you, this is not Stafford County is what, Ashley?
We're cooking.
That's
what you said.
We are.
We're cooking. We've got breaking developments here today. Don't throw your arms up at me like that. Okay. I've got to move around the corner here because we've got this screen here. Okay, now we're ready to go. Okay, Carolyn, first, right off the chute.
Well, I know
it's the annual grocery store update here.
Well,
how we doing?
Right. I know it's the number one issue in St. John right now, and it's people are impatient. We want to see more progress. I can say that we're working on it. It's not as if, I can tell you something definite's going to happen, but I think that we're getting close to having more information about the availability of the existing building soon, and that's clearly going to be the most direct way to get something going in the short term. So the odd fellows that own the building, they're working hard on it. This isn't their full-time job. I think we kind of owe them some gratitude for the time they are putting into this, and I think we'll know some new information soon.
So did Dillon's or Kroger lease the building from the Oddfellows, right?
Correct, right. It's kind of a unique situation where, a building is owned by an organization like the Oddfellows, but that's the case there. And they're very interested, too, in seeing, a new grocery store get established. It's clearly a big anchor for any community, and so they're working on it. They really are.
Now, have things with the Kroger pretty much are those talks pretty much over as far as getting any equipment or any things like that out?
It's all tied up in what they're
really
discussing right now, I think. We won't know for certain for a little bit, but I think we're making progress.
You've been getting any feelers from, I don't know, hometown grocers or people like that?
We do have a few. And again, though, it comes back to it's hard to really progress those talks too much until you're a lot more certain about what options you have, either with using an existing building or, we can talk about something in a new building, but that's not going to happen fast. I mean, that's probably a year or year and a half out kind of deal. So that's a big part of the reason I'm so interested in knowing if we can access the building in the short term. It may be the best even just short-term solution, even if we continue to look at something that sets up probably just the landscape better for the long term in a different building.
What has it been? Because I don't know how long St. John's ever gone without having a, say, grocery store in the community. I don't know if ever.
I don't know that it ever has. I mean,
what's it been like? I mean, does it change things a little bit?
Well, of course, you have to think ahead and, plan for buying groceries when you are out of town or, we are fortunate we have Paul's Grocery in Stafford. That's nearby. But you do have to do a little more planning.
Right. Okay. And get freezer bags when you go anywhere you go, right?
That's right.
Okay. Double sack that, please. All right. Carolyn Dunn with us here from Stafford County Economic Development. Ashley Bevan also with us as well. Okay. Stafford County is cooking. Why?
Because
some good news today, right?
We're excited about this. We were notified today of a grant that will go along with the $10,000 grant Golden Belt Community Foundation awarded earlier this month to build the Launch Pad Business Incubator. So I joke about I could talk about all this all hour long. I think it's really exciting. What it will be is a place to. Well, I guess maybe I'll kind of set the stage by the idea that, we talk about this even all the years of Leadership Golden Belt. The perennial theme is that communities are losing population and young adults. And how do we stem that? Well, Our concept here is to build the business and young adult population by providing a protected environment for them to launch a business. So candidates for this might be graduates from colleges or universities that are pursuing entrepreneurship programs, maybe have worked in business plans in the context of business plan competitions, which are becoming more and more common in a number of the universities around the state, but without kind of a defined path to pursue that following college. It may be kind of hard to actually act on that business plan and start a business. And you know that those students are also getting lured by a lot of corporate opportunities too. So we need to more actively try to pursue them is our thought. And so what we're doing is we're going to build a building on a vacant lot in downtown St. John. And it'll be a 2-story building. On the bottom floor, it'll be an open concept area that would be suitable to conduct your business in. We'll keep it open and flexible so that it could, be office, retail, light manufacturing, assembly. It could be any number of things, but there's your space to conduct your business. On the second floor, it's a modest apartment for that budding entrepreneur to live, which also on the side kind of addresses one of the other problems we talk about a lot, which is that we don't have enough housing, particularly rental housing. And the idea that there's just a lot of houses that are available that would involve a fairly substantial remodeling project that any young entrepreneur is not going to be in a position to take on. So we kind of support the whole person, place to do your business, place to live. And during the time that they're there in that incubator, we're going to work with them to set them up with mentors, find, financing, help establish those beginning sales, and actually get the business going. When they're established, we'll graduate them and start the process over again.
Now, how much was the state grant for?
We've gotten a total of $55,000 in grant funding at this point, in addition to some internal funds that economic development is dedicating.
And that doesn't include the $10,000 from Golden Belt?
It does, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we estimate we can get this done for about $100,000. And we have some volunteer labor coming our way in June. You might remember the bike and build group we talked about last. They're coming back. We're going to have 25 college, volunteers.
We're wearing them out. That leg after they get done in Stafford County, man, that's some tough pedaling. I'm telling you.
They said something to me like last year, they wanted to come back because the group had felt like they made the most impact in Stafford County. I don't know if that means we just worked them to death or what, but they are coming back.
Well, Golden Belt Community Foundation, it all got started basically, though, with this $10,000
yes.
that was awarded from Golden Belt, right?
It is, yes. They were our first kind of anchor donation, so that did help get the ball rolling.
Is this a new concept? I mean, business incubator. You mentioned the word protected earlier. What do you mean by protected?
Well, just the idea that a protected environment. We're going to kind of give them a place that they're going to have to worry about meeting the rent monthly. We're basically going to offer that to them as an incentive. So
is this retail? Is it?
It could be anything. It could be what that person has a passion for doing in a business sense. So we're trying to keep that bottom floor business space just very open and flexible, so that it could be retail. I will say I think that retail in a small town is often a pretty tough row to hoe. How
about a grocery store though?
Well, I know.
Okay,
I know. We're working on that too. But groceries are something that people repeatedly purchase
Correct.
in a different way than a lot of other retail. And it's not that retail's bad, but I'm just saying, unless you've got a really good plan on how to diversify your sales base, it's kind of hard to depend on just that in a small town. So that is also kind of a part of some of the thinking behind this, is that, our downtown areas are kind of looking a little vacant in some ways. And maybe this mixed use, residential and commercial kind of, mixed use building is the best way to breathe some new life into our rural areas. And, maybe that idea of living in a downtown loft might also appeal to a younger demographic that we're also trying to target. But, where did it come from? I have to say, it is kind of our own application of entrepreneurship. I've kind of said before, we encourage entrepreneurship, but we also try to be, in the way that we manage our organization, a little entrepreneurial too. So it's not accidental. It's based on, data. Some of the things that I have seen in publications. One of the statistics was that 84% of companies that graduate from an incubator stay in the community where they were incubated. And that after 5 years, businesses that were nurtured in a business incubator have a survival rate of 87%. And that compares to a survival rate for those who go it alone without the benefits of an incubator at 44%. So, and maybe one of the other things that particular article that I'm referring to in Business News Daily kind of got at is the nature of selecting participants to be in a business incubator generally means they're more coachable, which I think is something that could be, a good benefit.
Will you take applications for this? Is that how it's going to work?
Well, we'll work through all of the process as time goes on. But yes, I think it will be a program that we execute as economic development as an organization. So we can be recruiting out of the various college programs. We could, it wouldn't even have to be a college that feeds into it. I talked recently with an individual who has a business that he's part owner of, and they're interested in selling the business. Well, who's going to take it? Maybe it might be a young person that would be a good candidate for this kind of thing. The business space he describes in that one was coincidentally just about the same size as this building would be. So,
Carolyn, when you got here, I saw you go by and then I realized you were floating down the hall. This is a big deal, isn't it? I mean,
well,
how many other communities have one of these?
I mean, there's other business incubators out there. Certainly, there. I think a typical model that I've seen is one that just provides. The '90s version of this would have been you have an office and you share a fax machine and maybe an office receptionist or something like that. So there's been variations of this before, but the idea that we're trying to kind of synthesize some of the other things that we see as needs in our rural areas, the idea that we need young adults, we need improved housing, all of this put together, along with the idea of trying to cultivate entrepreneurship, it's kind of our own kind of recipe for what we think would work in our situation.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a really, really neat day. We've got so many things to talk about today. As Ashley said, things are cooking down in Stafford County right now. You've got a house in Stafford that's being finished today.
And people are moving in tomorrow.
How about that? And again, congratulations, guys.
Thanks. We're happy about that. We're happy for the young family. I think it's one of the things that I have personally found fun about this housing initiative is in each case when we show the house to potential tenants to listen to them dream about the future, where they'll put the baby crib. It's fun to be the fly on the wall watching that stuff.
And especially when they're talking about baby cribs, it's not where they're bringing the grandkids in, okay? Yeah, they're talking about baby cribs. That means a young family moving into Stafford, right? Or finding a place that they can continue.
Exactly. You hit it.
Okay. So we've had buildings in Maxville, Stafford, Hudson.
Mm-hmm. All fully occupied. Well, as of tomorrow.
Okay. Of course, people down in St. John are wondering, well, when are we going to get this?
Well, we'll have the incubator, and it will have an apartment.
Okay, see? Wow. Things are going on down there. Ashley Bevan, who said the county is cooking right now.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Lots of projects going on.
Tell me about preliminary engineering for a streetscape in Stafford.
Okay, so to kind of give a little background, this
has
to do with our Live Well initiative work with the grant that we received through the Kansas Health Foundation. That's a big part of my job is promoting that. But through that initiative and through some chamber surveys and town hall meetings that the city has held, a consensus is that we need to give the downtown a little more focus, with the sidewalks and building fronts. And so we have some technical assistance funds that we need to use or else we pay it back. And so we were just brainstorming here recently, what can we do with these things to work on our active transportation policy that we're trying to move forward. And so we met with an engineer. That'll be 2 Fridays ago this coming week. We met him in downtown Stafford. and we had our master walk and bike plan for the city that we have through the Live Well grant. And we kind of looked at it and we said, what would you be able to do with this downtown area and then potentially some sidewalks more towards the north end of Main Street and up by the swimming pool, and then maybe branching over east from downtown to the school. This master walk and bike plan that we had done through PedNet, they marked sidewalks that need improvements or where there may not be a sidewalk at all. And so that's already marked, and that'll be a little easier for this engineer to go in and do a preliminary engineering report for us. But basically, we're doing this so we can give this plan to the city and say, hey, here's some ideas for future projects. We're not saying you have to do all of them, but it kind of gives them some cost analysis of what a project might cost for 3 blocks downtown, and what it would cost to do the whole sidewalk or just part of the sidewalk and the curb, and just some decorative things.
It'll give them options and some knowledge of what it would actually take to act on them, so that if they wanted to look for, transportation enhancements grants or community development block grants, they'd have some basis for evaluating how much they'd want to take on or if they could and all that kind of thing.
And I think by getting this preliminary engineering report, maybe it will get them to, look forward a little more that, maybe this is reasonable. Maybe we can plan this and put it in our 5-year plan to work on little bits and pieces here and there. So we're hopeful something will come out of that.
Well, how many times do people start projects say, well, how much that's going to cost? Well, I don't know. How are we going to find that out? Now we know.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can.
And similarly, we last year when St. John was looking at the potential project, the same scenario kind of played out. We paid for the preliminary engineering report, and that really set the stage to know how to, identify funding and apply for it and be competitive and receive it. So we hope that this will similarly be that catalyst to other improvements around the county.
Holy smokes. Okay, you just got back traveling to Manhattan.
Yes, we went there Monday.
And that was for the statewide business plan competition.
Yes, the entrepreneurship competition. And so back in the very beginning of March, we had our local entrepreneurship competition with 4 regional counties. Our top 3 business ideas that placed at our local competition were guaranteed a spot this last Monday in Manhattan. 3 of those students, which presented on 2 different business plans from Stafford County, presented. We had Marina Valadez Photography, and then we had 2 boys on the white whole wheat blend marketing team that presented. They didn't make it to the final round, but I give them props for speaking in that room. I would have been intimidated myself if I would have gotten up there to speak. I mean, there were 75 plus people in that room. And overall, it was just a good experience for them. So I'm proud of them for pulling through and just presenting.
It was kind of an intimidating setup that they had, too. You knew that you had come to the statewide competition.
Exactly.
You were at the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. Really, they've all grown a lot. I've watched them now for a couple of years in some cases, and I was just very proud of the performance they gave.
The bread makers, they're getting used to this, though. They're down at Benny Keith, and
that's true. They
now
did.
The Super Bowl of marketing, and wow. That's really exciting.
And we had, this was kind of on the heels of
Did you guys feel like coaches over there? You're all nervous, more nervous probably than the kids were just watching them get up there.
Well, Natalie Clark, their instructor, really gets all the credit for that.
All right.
She's done a great job. She's very dedicated. Okay, so now, if you don't believe that teachers put in a lot of work and dedication, I'll have to tell you this story. When we went to Oklahoma to present this product at the food show, we were told to be prepared for 2,500 participants, 2,500 people coming to the show. So to have samples ready for all those participants, we baked bread. We got up at 3:45 in the morning to go down to, the Sheraton had allowed us use of their kitchen. So we baked 9 batches of yeast bread from scratch, making 2,000 rolls by hand, measure out 1 ounce, shape it. But we got 2,000 rolls baked by 10 o'clock in the morning, and then proceeded to, show it all day long. And they got some new sales. One of them that I think was kind of exciting. It's not one that has chosen to sample the product is K-State. If we, had this at the K-State Food Service, that would be, I think,
that'd be a good
really
start.
nice. It'd be a good start. There you go. So,
did you lay some off for the people at the motel too?
we did have a lot left over, so the food bank did benefit from that.
Oh, okay. You're staying at the Sheridan down there.
Well, we weren't staying at the Sheridan. We actually just got use of their kitchen.
Well, how about that?
It was just a big adventure.
How do you
all the way
call up
around.
about that? Oh, yes, I'm calling about some high school kids who need to make 7,000 rolls for a competition that we're having.
And the sous chef told me, you know what? I got my start in high school too. I'll make it happen. He let us into his kitchen. It was really gracious.
See, Stafford County is cooking, right,
Yes, it is.
Ashley? Wow. Okay. And a KDOT grant for airport improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the airport right between St. John and Stafford?
Well, that's where the airport currently is. Yes.
Okay.
And the part of it is we're one of the few counties in the state that doesn't have an all-weather runway.
Right.
It's a grass runway, and KDOT would like to see every county have that all-weather runway to be able to accommodate, if nothing else, emergency airplanes, fixed-wing airplanes. So they are giving us $27,000 to plan improvements to our airport.
Will this be kind of like engineering type things again?
It'll be some of that engineering type stuff again, but hopefully lead to land acquisition
For a different location then.
There's not enough space in the current airport to have the runway as long as it needs to be.
Yeah, I don't think it'll cross the highway to the south, will it? That's
No.
probably not.
So, the county's still kind of working through this, but this is the county essentially taking the responsibility now for the airport and trying to see that the improvements do occur.
Anything else?
I think that's all we've got for today.
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. No. I do have one other thing. The Stafford
30
Chamber
seconds.
of Commerce is hosting a legislative coffee 9 o'clock Saturday morning at the Stafford Senior Center. So there's a lot of things, not only transportation and education, there's just a lot going on at the state level right now that impacts us. So we encourage people to come and talk to our legislators. It's 9 a.m. Saturday, Stafford Senior Center.
Okay, I'll let you guys float back down to St. John today. Thanks for being here. Congratulations on all fronts. A lot of things going on
Thank you.
in Stafford County.
Thank you.
Focus on Stafford County today here on 1590 KVGB. Stay tuned. News coming up next. And this afternoon, we've got high school softball, Garden City, and Great Bend. That starts at 3:45. Have a great day, everyone.